Andy McNamara for WCZR Code Zero Radio. I'm joined here by Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member Matt Sorum, of course, Guns N' Roses, Velvet Revolver. Do you have any specific memories of your induction?
I don't have very many memories of any of that band. No, just kidding. The induction, wow. I never really had that in the bucket list. It was sort of unimaginable. So it became something that was kind of a shock. And I think the whole process was interesting and very emotional, you know? And getting up there and stuff. Like, you have rock and roll dreams when you're a kid, but that was just beyond any rock and roll dream I ever had. I just wanted to play music and get on stage and travel the world, and I did all that, and then I got that, you know? So it's pretty cool. I'm happy about it. I'm very proud of it. And now you have to say, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, Matt Sorum, which is, you know, people don't say it. I'm like, hold on, go back, start over again. No, I'm just kidding.
How did you get roped into doing Joey's song? This, of course, a great organization raising money for epilepsy research.
Roped is probably. Well, I got the call from Butch Vig. Butch Vig calls. It's sort of like, hello. It's like the bat phone. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
And there I was, wrangled. They call it in the music business, you know, wrangling cats, herding cats. And they herded this cat right up. I said, where are we going? I'm in Palm Springs by the pool. You know, and they're like, we're going to Madison, Wisconsin. I'm like, in January? It's like, come on. That's what I want right now. My wife's right now sitting by the pool going, what are you doing over there? I'm like, we're skiing, honey. You know, we're roasting marshmallows by the fire. But no, I love it. You know, honestly, all kidding aside, when I heard the story from Mike and his son, Joey, breaks my heart. And I have a daughter. And I'm like, man, I'm there. Because I just can't imagine that. That's the thing. My daughter is everything in my life, everything in my world. And anything to do for kids, I'm there. And especially with this situation with epilepsy, and when they're born into this epilepsy and, you know, there's no real cure. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go hang with a bunch of cool musicians and raise some money? No brainer.
Is there anyone you're looking forward to playing with?
Well, I get to play with Curt Smith from Tears for Fears.
Have you played with him before or been involved?
No, but fairly challenging groove on that Everybody Wants to Rule the World. And that was a nice exercise for me. Because as you become a musician and you play through life and are blessed to be in great bands, sometimes you got to get out of your comfort zone. And that beat challenged me. So I went and rehearsed in my studio, and they were going. And you could ask any drummer out there, they go, play that beat for Tears for Fears, and are you playing it right? It's more complicated than you think. So I like the subtleties of rhythm. Some people just take it for granted, listen to AC/DC, and they go, ooh, listen to that groove. They don't think like that. They just like the song. But the details are there. So I like to be detail-oriented. So I prepared, and I'm going to go up there with him and Brian from Silver Sun Pickups, the cool kids. You know, and like they're like, we've been around 20 years. I'm like, you have? I still call you kids. I'm like, you know, it's like, it's funny because that alternative scene, you know, the Pumpkins and Nirvana and all those bands that came out of that ilk. And for me, they're kids. I'm a classic rocker. And what does classic mean? That's like an old car.
Yeah, like, so do you think classic rock is more of a like a time period or more of a style?
Classic rock is a style. I think it's, you know, it falls under the moniker of just blues-based rock and roll, in my opinion. You know, anything from Aerosmith to the Stones to the Guns N' Roses, and, you know. Now there's bands like I was in called The Cult, and we kind of maybe fell under a little bit different of a category, maybe somewhere in the realm of, you know, the Bauhaus rock movement of England or whatever. But so there's always slightly different subcategories, you know, when you say heavy metal or I played Motorhead, and Lemmy didn't like to be called heavy metal. He was rock and roll. It's like, I'm a rock and roll band. And Lemmy used to say, we're a Motorhead and we play rock and roll. What is rock and roll? The Rolling Stones are rock and roll. There's rock and then there's roll. The Stones are rock and roll. Guns N' Roses were rock and roll. It was the attitude. It was the way we lived our lives. And I can't say I live like that anymore. I still like to rock, but I don't roll as hard as I used to because I used to roll nightly.
That's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee Matt Sorum.